Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my Christmas movie marathon. And today I'm going to be going over the Disney Christmas Carol film. I was originally going to review the Muppets Christmas Carol because that's the one that I've seen more and that's the one that I like more. But I remember already reviewing it, I believe, 2 Christmases ago or something like that. But anyway, point is, I've already covered that, so I'm gonna be covering the Disney, like the actual Disney one that used like the motion capture and CGI, which starting right off the bat, I really do like the motion capture that they did and the animation that they used for it, where they actually used like mocap for the actors on their movements and like their facial expressions and everything, which which to me kind of like makes it feel like more alive. At least that's the way I see it. Where I don't always like CGI. I mean, like, I'm a horror guy, so obviously I prefer practical effects over CGI. But when CGI is done right, such as like with Andy Serkis as Gollum, or with the Hulk in the MCU, at least when that is done right in and of itself, it really looks great, and I think this is one of those movies where it works great either way. Where like when it's really good, it's great, and even when it's bad, at least to me, it kind of adds to the whole dark feeling that this movie has, because it's actually pretty like dark, like darker than previous versions of Christmas Carol that I've seen. Like, despite being made by Disney, like the whole presence of the ghosts, like any of them, like look really freaky. Like Jacob Marley when he first shows up, as like Scrooge's door knocker. It looks really creepy. Like I remember during the Muppets Christmas Carol, there was a little bit of a jump scare where Jacob Marley like screams in Michael Caine's face. But in here, like, it looks like really ghoulish, and I don't know, that whole thing just looked so freaky. And then when like Jacob Marley like makes his full appearance, like as this ghastly spirit just hanging in midair, that whole sequence just lends itself to to basically the horror darkness of this film. Like even like this whole comedic scene where Jacob Marley's jaw unhinges, and he like first tries to fix it, and instead like his entire face gets all messed up like he's in a Picasso painting. It all looks great to me. But moving on from the whole CGI and the whole like ghoulish nature of this, which speaking of, the last thing I'm gonna say is they went hard even on the Ghost of Christmas Present, who's supposed to be like this really jolly and happy character. Like, the way that they take him out of the film is just is pretty horrific, where they have these two people, a man and a woman, who like reveal themselves from underneath his clothes, and they have the woman like go insane and be covered in a straitjacket, while the man is like placed in a cage. And then as the clock is striking midnight, the Ghost of Christmas Present basically has a heart attack, and like his skin basically peels away to show like just a laughing skeleton. And I remember my family watching it one time, and like even some members of my family said that like that was a pretty ghoulish scene for a Disney film. And I don't know, I think that's I think the Disney Christmas Carol is pretty much the last Disney film that actually like pushed the envelope for a kids film. Where like a lot of older Disney films, they would like really push the envelope, especially films like The Hunchback of Notre Dame or Tarzan, like those really old animated family films. I consider this to be like one of the last films that actually did that. That like was still a kids film, but still like took the story into really dark places. But going on from the story itself and the CGI, I think the acting was great. Um, Jim Carrey, I would never have expected Jim Carrey to be Scrooge of all characters, but he plays him great. Gary Oldman is great as Bob Cratchit. And something that I didn't really know until I looked it up just recently is that Jim Carrey also plays like all the ghosts of Christmas. Like he plays the ghost of Christmas past, present, future, and I think that's great. And even Gary Oldman lends his voice to several characters, which awesome. The ghosts themselves are kind of pretty cool. Like the Ghost of Christmas Past, I think that's the only time that I've seen the Ghost of Christmas Past being like a ball of flame. But then the Ghosts of Christmas Present and Future are like kind of pretty average. Even though Jim Carrey did play them pretty good. Especially the Ghost of Christmas Future, again, going on with the dark and horror roots of the story. Like the Ghost of Christmas Future looked great. He wasn't as good as some other Ghost of Christmas Future that I've seen in other versions of the story, which ironically, I think that there's 3, maybe 4 versions of A Christmas Carol that Disney has made. I know that they made the Muppets one, this one, and also the one where Scrooge McDuck was Ebenezer Scrooge, Mickey Mouse was Bob Cratchit, Pete was the Ghost of Christmas Future, and then I can't even remember who the Ghosts of Christmas Past and Present were in that one. But anyway, aside from that, I liked the portrayal of the characters in this. Especially, I liked Jim Carrey's performance. I didn't even remember that Jim Carrey was Scrooge in this movie, but he played him really well. Again, Gary Oldman was great as Bob Cratchit. The other characters are all right. The music was pretty good, and like the story itself, the story itself is a good adaptation. I consider it to be of the classic Charles Dickens story. And like despite the movie being kind of like dark at times, I do like the colors and visuals that pop out every now and then, especially during the Christmas parties, where during that one scene in the story where Scrooge was working for, I believe his name was Fezziwig. For the longest time, I thought his name was Fozziwig because of the Muppets version calling him Fozziwig because he was played by Fozzie Bear. But like that whole sequence of where like they're dancing, jumping, laughing, and everything, like it's like just straight out of the musical, and the whole sequence was just fantastic. And like even the ending is great, where Scrooge, of course, plays a practical joke on Cratchit, and then like Bob Cratchit is the one who narrates the ending, and I thought that was pretty cool. But aside from that, like I don't think there's very much else for me to talk about this film. I just really liked this movie, and it's one of my favorite versions of A Christmas Carol, to be honest. The there is a little bit of overlap where I'm gonna be covering one more version of A Christmas Carol, but that won't be for another few days. So until then, I will see you guys tomorrow for another Christmas review. Have a nice one, everyone.